Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of Coupled Up with
Dex
and Chelsea. So another thing that we had talked about in the past, and I think we were on the same page with it from the very beginning, was that I really wanted him to get my parents' permission or ask them for my hand in marriage. And so how did that work out? What was that process like?
Yeah, also another video to show. I was nervous. So I had decided that I wasn't going to talk to them until I had the ring in hand. And the ring ended up taking a little bit longer than anticipated design. One, because I'm meticulous as crap. But then also,
So when did you talk to them?
So I ended up talking to them the day after I picked up the ring. I picked up the ring on a Friday.
I know, but when was this? You proposed July 7th.
I proposed July 7th. I talked to them, I think it was either the end of May or the very first part of June. Mm-hmm. Like the first weekend in June type of deal. So it was somewhere around there, still about a month and some change out from the actual proposal. And so when we were on our trip in San Marcos for our 1 year, I was sitting there texting, of course, because I've been texting Jasmine all this time. I was texting Jasmine. I'm like, what could I give your parents when I go ask them that'll be meaningful? And she was looking up stuff on Pinterest and all this and that. And then she hit me back up with this idea. Why don't you give my parents a bonsai tree or some sort of plant or something like that and put on there 3 qualities that you think they are foundational to a marriage that you think they have. So I did that. I went to IKEA to find this, right? She was like, you can find it at IKEA. I was looking up Home Depot, wherever. So I went to IKEA. I'm on the phone with her. I'm like FaceTiming with her and on Facebook Messenger because I don't have iPhone. And I'm like, yo, I like really like this plant, but I don't know. And then it was like, we went to all these different whatever.
And what did Jasmine say?
She was like, dude, it really doesn't matter. Just pick one. Something like that, you know? And so finally I like picked it, all this and that, printed up these labels, put it on the vase. And so I hit her parents up on Saturday morning like, hey, I have some stuff. Chelsea was out of town, so she wasn't at her parents' house. And I said, hey, I have something to drop off for Chelsea I want to surprise her with before she gets back. Are y'all going to be home around 2 o'clock or whatever? And they're like, yeah, we'll be here. Just hit us up before. So I hit them up. I head out there. And y'all, it took longer than it's ever taken me to get to Chelsea's parents' house this day because I got every single traffic light. Grandma's driving in front of me. And of course, I'm nervous, y'all. I'm crazy nervous. Been dreaming about this day since forever. Get there. I go to sit down with I bring this big bag with the plant in it in the house. And I tell them, this isn't for Chelsea. This is for... this is for y'all. So can we sit down and talk? They're like, okay. And so I start to talk after her dad tells me this long story.
Oh, just like him.
Whatever.
Long story.
And so I start to talk and I'm like, and I say to them, I actually don't remember what I said.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And so, but I start to talk and like literally 2 sentences in, her dad's like, you nervous? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I've been like anticipating this day since forever. He's like, what you nervous for? And you know us, we know you, we're just talking. And that kind of like helped to ease the nerves a little bit. But I just went and I said, hey, I thought about and been praying on what future I want with your daughter. And I thought about 3 qualities that are foundational that you exhibit. And I'm just here to ask for your prayers and blessings so that we may grow and flourish, get the tree grow and flourish the way that you all have. And so so we have a conversation and we had a deep, probably like 45-minute conversation talking about what I had ahead of me and dealing with this woman, what I had ahead of me and just like making sure that she's ready, I'm ready, how do we know, all this and that. And so then at the end, your dad prayed for us. And it was incredibly beautiful and great. And so that was that. Yeah.
And then you left and you were like...
And then I left and it was like a huge weight lifted off. I immediately felt more connected. And then that evening we had a little family event that she didn't get to go to, but I went to for one of her aunt's birthday.
Yeah,
So one of the things that was a big point of contention for us in this whole process was how I handled the conversations when the topic came up about us getting engaged and me proposing. And so for Chelsea, for instance, because one big thing is all of this was me. I told Chelsea from the jump, I'm not playing games. I'm dating you with the intention of getting married. We had a conversation throughout one day about like potential dates. And after that conversation, I texted her a date and I was like, how about this date? What do you think? And she was like, absolutely. But she had told me, I want a year and a half to plan a wedding. And I was like, about a year and a half.
Because before we even started talking about marriage, we had just had the conversation like, well, how long do you think is a long engagement? Or how long do you think is, like, what's too short for you? And what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And we kind of agreed on, about year and a half, but kind of like year and a half.
Yep.
But at the same time,
And so as things went on, I started... So it's hard for me to keep secrets. It's literally hard, especially from her, hard for me to keep secrets. And so, but to make sure that she was thrown off, I kept talking about like, money's not altogether right. I have parents moving back. I need to find an apartment. I need all this and that. And so that started to kind of worry her and agitate her, because I was also, by the way, buying her gifts that weren't cheap and, going on this trip and that. And it's like, well, if money's a problem and you need to buy me a ring or what have you, it's like, then why are you doing all this? I'm not asking you to do these things. Why are you doing that? And so that was a point. And when when y'all see couples together, y'all be asking like, oh, so like, when are you gonna propose? That's pressure. That's pressure on a dude. And like Chelsea wasn't sitting here like, when are you gonna propose? When you propose? Like she'd make the occasional little joke like, well, I ain't got a ring on my finger, so no, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. But like, I didn't feel pressure from her. But whenever we were asked by other people, when are y'all gonna, so when you pop in the question, or are you gonna get engaged? Are y'all whatever? It was always a thing of, I would play off, well, like, I need to get the money ain't right now, or like, nah, she ain't at that point yet. And like, when I would say those things, she would get so bothered and so hurt. Why?
Because of what you just said.
Because if money's not right and all this stuff, then don't be buying me all these things. Like, to me, it was like, well, show me what you really want in life. Show me where your, not allegiance, because that's not the right word, but show me where your priorities are.
Yeah, your priorities are. If you want to propose to me and if that's what you're really wanting to do, then you need a sacrifice here and there and wherever. So from my perspective, that's not what was going on. Did I know that all this other stuff was going on? No. But that doesn't mean that I still don't feel a certain type of way about it, because I only have one side. He has both. But I would get upset about it, or I would bring it up and be like, why did you have to say that, or whatever. And then he would get mad at me because I was saying that. It was this whole back and forth thing. But like, I only knew one side.
Right, but because like you were getting bothered because like I was just being jovial about it. And that was my whole thing in this whole process. Like, I want to enjoy it. Like, screw what everyone else thinks and what time frame everyone else thinks we should do things in. We're going to do this whenever we feel ready. And also, this is probably like the only thing that I get to have total and complete control over, is when I ask for your hand in marriage.
And I didn't care for that. I wasn't saying that. I didn't care when it happened. It wasn't that that I cared about what other people were saying in the time frame and everything. I cared because you were saying that you didn't have the money and it wasn't right and like all this stuff. And so it's like, okay, well then, if you didn't have all this money and everything, show me where, like, once again, show me where your priorities lie. Like, show me that you want this to be a thing and that you want it to happen and everything. I didn't care that other people were like necessarily asking. It was the reaction that you were getting. And the fact that you were saying you want it to be jovial and like all this stuff, because you knew both sides. You knew in the back of their head that you were planning all this, but you got to see from my perspective, I did not know any of this. So all I hear is you don't care. Like, it seems like you just don't care because you have to get your money right and whatever, but yet you're buying these things or going on this trip and that trip. So it just is it's counterintuitive on my end. So yeah, when people asked and you gave those smart aleck responses, I'm like, all right. And then also, to me, it made it seem as if I'm this desperate girl because they're asking, okay, well, when are y'all going to get engaged? When y'all gonna... And I'm like, I don't know. Like, up to him, obviously. Up to him, and you're like, I don't know, or no, like, we working on it, or whatever. Not even we're working on it. You said that every so often, which I wanted you to say more often than not. Like, we are working on it. But it's those little remarks, and I was just like, cool. Cool. So that was not fun at all. And then
go ahead.
We were at Cheddar's one day, and he decides to say, well, what did you say? You're like, well, how would you feel if, or are you going to be okay if I don't propose? Would you be upset if I didn't propose until October? And it's like, once again, we're back at this argument or this thing. And I told him all the time, I do not care when you propose. Because
at this point, we were a week out, and I was starting to get worried that you suspect, like, you kind of knew some things were going on. All you had to do is
just, like, ask people around.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
But instead, he decided to say, would you be upset if I didn't propose until October? And that made me upset.
You know why
Not because
October?
Of the time frame.
Because the first time I talked to Mel about it, she had said that you'd mentioned to her something about, like, oh, it's probably be September, October or something, because I think maybe I had thrown out there in October at some point. Know. But she had said, oh, you know, she doesn't suspect anything because she had said to me maybe September to October or whatever. And so I was just trying to make sure that in your head, that was still the timeline. And so a week out, I'm like, does she know? Again, I cannot keep secrets, but go ahead. So I brought that up.
Yeah, and it was just annoying because I'm like, not because of the time frame, not because October, but it's because, once again, we're back here and it's like, I don't care when you propose. That wasn't a thing. I do not care when you propose. I want you to do it on your time. I don't want you to feel pressured. I don't want you to feel any certain type of way. I want it to be when you want to do it. So don't sit here and ask me, oh, are you okay with October? No, are you okay with October? Is that what you want to do?
Y'all, she got pissed.
And then what happened? I went to the restroom, and he goes outside, and he calls my sister.
Yep.
And what'd you say to Jasmine?
Did. I said to her, I think I just messed up big time, because, like, now she's very upset because I asked her if October, like, I tried to see if she knew, and I asked her if October was going to be okay, not knowing that the day before, one of our friends had asked her, like, when is he going to propose? And she had no idea.
And
I didn't know that.
And in that conversation, I was like, you know, Gracie asked me yesterday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I said in the conversation, I go, Gracie asked me yesterday when you can propose. And I was like, I don't know, like, whenever he's ready. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, blah, 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 whatever. And when I told him that, he was like, oh, dang. Like, now looking back, it's like, oh, dang, like, you really didn't know. No, I really didn't know. Gosh.
Yeah. Yep. So there was that, and there was pressure. We probably had one of our biggest fights to date. Because we've had like 4 big fights. And we've had one of our biggest fights over that. And so that was...
Yep.
And that was an ongoing thing. So
yeah,
that sucked. But as I looked at this ring, I'm like, So the thing is, one of our biggest fights we had to date on it happened. I had already had the ring at my house. We were arguing, and she was standing not even 10 feet away from the ring. On the inside, I was laughing hysterically. I was upset a little bit, but I'm like, homie, you're over here. We're arguing about this ring.
But I'm not. But that's okay. Stop.
10 feet
time
away
out.
From
you keep saying that, but I need you to get that I was not arguing with you that day about you proposing to me.
It was my response. I know.
It was not about you giving me a ring.
It was my response.
I really did not care.
Okay, but it was my response.
Right. So quit saying that you're arguing about getting a ring and it's right there. I was gonna give you a ring. Not one time.
But it was still funny to me.
That's fine, but don't say that I was upset about not having a ring.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. This is staying in, by the way.
That's fine.
So, all right. This is the thing that's gotten me is, when did you start, like, in hindsight, after I proposed, what were the things that you started to notice that it was like,
so there was a couple things. So my sister, a long time ago, before you even, I think, even really told her, like, oh, straight hair, blah, blah. I've been straightening my hair in 2.5 years since I graduated from college. And Jasmine, my sister, was like, hey, I wonder how long your hair is. Let's straighten it one day, blah, blah, blah. So as we're getting closer to the proposal, she's bringing this up to me, and she's like, hey, like, let's straighten your hair. We went to La Berge for 4th of July. Hey, let's straighten your hair while we're there. I'm like, okay, cool. We never had time. So she's like, well, I'll just come over to the house afterwards and straighten it. So she straightened my hair. And looking back, it's like, we stayed up until like 11 or 12 that night. I don't know, probably like 11. Her straightening my hair when she could have been at home.
I didn't realize it was that much.
Yes, I have a lot of hair, so it took a minute. Mm-hmm. After that, because we were supposed to be going to this alpha thing, and my mom's like, you are not going to that thing with your nails looking like that. And I'm like, I was going to get them done. She's like, you want to go tomorrow? Or whatever it was. I was like, okay. So a couple of days before the proposal, we went to go get our nails done. Then my dad never asked me what I'm wearing to anything. Never. Mm-hmm. And me and Dexter are outside. We're leaving. He's leaving from my parents' house. My dad's outside too. I don't know why.
The Sunday before the proposal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he asked me, he's like, so what are you even wearing to this thing on Saturday? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I'm thinking about wearing this blue dress that I have. And he's like, which one? I was like, you know, the one that I wore on the cruise, blah, blah, like whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And you were like, blue? What type of blue? And my dad's like, no, it's a nice blue dress and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, why are you asking me what I'm wearing? Because you don't care. Mm-hmm. Another thing, Mel.
Yo, Mel.
She almost messed up. She didn't mess up, but she almost did.
Mel.
No, you're good, girl. So I'm in a bachelorette group message with our friend, for our friend Ashley's wedding or bachelorette trip.
Cobby, the one who helped me.
Cobby, the one who originally helped in December. Yeah. So Ashley, which is also Mel's best friend, she's getting married, Ashley and Cobby, and we're going on a trip for her bachelorette. And we're in a group message, and Mel just so happened to be texting about to this other girl, whatever. And in the midst of it, she says, oh, well, I'll be in Houston this weekend, so I'll just go and swoop it up, or whatever it was. I had texted her the morning of that Saturday, and because I had meant to text her like days before. This is like days before when she said this. I meant to text her, but didn't think about it until Saturday morning. I woke up super early on Saturday. I don't even know why. Mm-hmm. And I texted her at like 8 o'clock in the morning and was like, hey, you're in Houston. Like, what are you doing? Let's hang out or something like that. And according to her, she started freaking out. She called Sparrow, her boyfriend. She called Sparrow and was like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. I think she might have called Ashley or texted Ashley. I don't know. But Ashley was like, make up an excuse. She's a flight attendant. She's like, make up an excuse that you have a layover there. Which I should have known because Melissa never has layovers here. Mm-hmm. It's always in Dallas or like, I don't know, not even Dallas. Like it's always other places. It's not here. Mm-hmm. But she was like, oh, I just had a layover, but I switched my trip. I'm on my way to Amsterdam right now, which she has trips to Amsterdam all the time. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, okay. But really, and then I should have known. All my friends were ghosting me the entire like week and a half, 2 weeks prior, except for Raven. Raven was at my house that day.
Texting me about how you didn't want to come. Okay,
I was saying I didn't want to come, and she exaggerated it. Mm-hmm. And I said I didn't want to come because this guy, the entire time, trying to play it all cool, this guy is like, I don't even want to go to this thing. Like, I don't feel like going to this. I don't even know what this is. The week prior, when we were over at Nick and Gracie's in Lufkin, he's talking about, hey, if y'all can find a way to get me out of this, like, let us know. I know you're coming to Houston to hang out with your brother, but let us know. I don't feel like coming there. So, of course, if he's like, I don't want to go to my own thing, why do you think that I want to go to it? It had been raining all day long. It started raining, and I made a joke, which I've done before around you. I made a joke to my mom and Raven and was like, y'all, like, how can I get out of this? I don't want to go, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so here goes Raven texting the group talking about, y'all, she don't want to come, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it wasn't even that crucial. I was going to go. Like, I've never backed out of something like that. I was going to go. But you can't expect me to be gung-ho about something that you're not even gung-ho about.
I just didn't want you to know what it was. But go ahead.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No, that's fine, but I'm just saying you can't.
And then the last thing was that you put 2 and 2 together. Your dad was being extra nice to you that day?
Yeah, I mean, he was being extra nice to me that day, which is not the norm at all, if you know our relationship. So the fact that he was being so nice and was wondering what was going on with this and that and whatever, it's like, dude, why?
He was excited.
I guess so.
So, like, this ring, like I said, same with who we chose to marry us and all this and that, and significance of everything I did in doing the final rose ceremony for her and all that stuff. Everything is intentional and purposeful for us, and so I wanted that same thing to be the case in the ring. And so when designing the ring, one of the things is that we're two completely different people coming together, right?
If you've been watching this, you know. Completely
different people. And so when designing ring, there's this twisting band. The band that doesn't have stones on it represents me, and the band that has stones on it that represents her. And we're coming together to support our love, which is the center stone and the halo. And in the band, there are 23 smaller stones.
If you don't know the meaning behind 23
and its significance,
then you need to go watch the video. We'll link that down below.
Oh, really? We're not going to talk about it? Okay.
No, we'll link it down below.
Yeah. Well, 23 smaller stones. And so, yeah, there's a lot of effort into that. Thank you so much to Klein's Fine Jewelry and helping me design this ring and being patient with me. I know I was a butthole, but I wanted this to be perfect, and all the hours you spent in sitting with me and designing this ring, I really do appreciate it. Y'all are the bomb, and I'll also put a link down to them below as well. If y'all are dudes or girls, anyone in the process, look there and go check them out. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just now starting to set in that it's real, and this is my fiance, not my girlfriend. That's so crazy to say.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
My fiance.
I know.
You're about to be Mrs. McCoy.
Not about, but soon to be. But
yeah. So there are a lot of people who put a lot of work, money, and effort into making this possible.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quickly before you leave. I want to thank my sister, Jasmine. She did a lot for this and helping him out and with the party and many hours to set up for the party and cooking and all that stuff. So I want to thank Jasmine.
Everything, none of this would have happened without Jasmine.
Yeah, so thanks,
girl.
So
really appreciative of that. I also want to thank 4 people. One, I want to thank my dad for his guidance and wisdom, and my mom along with that for the ring production and looking and all that. I also want to thank my very close mentor, Dr. Charles Dupree, who was instrumental in guiding me through this whole process and sent me to several jewelers, as well as Jonathan, who was the one who sent me to Mark and his folks over at Klein's Fine Jewelry, and Kabi, who really helped out in giving advice and talking me through some of this ring purchasing process. All of y'all were very helpful. Also to my mom, my Aunt Robin, and my cousin Kalia, who helped me out day of. Very appreciative.
But also the people that helped out with the engagement party. So not only Jasmine, of course, but
all of the best friends of Chelsea's. Yes, Chris and Tiffany.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Chris and Tiffany.
That giving us a venue for the engagement party, helping set that up and securing that. And then to just all of Chelsea's friends for all of your help leading up.
Thanks Madison, to my parents for helping out
too. Madison, Melissa, Ashley, we said Mel, Raven, Erica, y'all are the homies. Really appreciate it.
If we're forgetting anyone else, I'm sorry. But thank you everyone who helped out. That night was extra special and everything. I mean, Kabi and Sparrow were there blowing up balloons and helping with stuff too.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I didn't know that. They were there. Yeah, so y'all are the goats.
Yep.
So I really appreciate y'all.
And all of the family and friends who helped support and celebrated with us that night. It was amazing. It was great to see everyone together. And if that's any indication, your parents said this and I copy them. If that's any indication of what our wedding's going to be like, then I'm excited. And of course, really want to thank those our friends who captured the moment for us, because that was extra critical. Want to thank Donish Nelson, Paul Cuevas, and Larry Hayes. You helped us document the memories, and thank you so much for doing that for us. And we'll link them below. Check out their work. Their work is great. Really appreciate them for that. So thanks for listening to this long story that we just gave. If you made it all the way through the video, go ahead and give us a good thumbs up or a big thumbs up. Comment down below, hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and just stay tuned to everything that's to come in the near future. We're going to take you along for the journey, per usual. So until next time, thanks for watching. Deuces. Bye.